they don't just smile, they laugh and they giggle and they look at each other, and they are enjoying themselves so much, and it communicates in their body language and their facial language. And the kids at home look at that and they see the difference. They weren't nervous. They should have been nervous. They should have been, oh my Lord, it's America. But they didn't. They just said, let's do our stuff. Let's show them what we can do. And that communicates itself, that confidence. It's not swagger. It's not arrogance. It's certainty. It's a certainty that they believe in their music and that they've got something they want to give. And there's a moment where they look at each other. I think it's in I Saw Us Standing There, and there's this exuberant look, and you know what they're saying.
I don't think they were nervous at all. In fact, years later, when, you know, the Males brothers, they were following us around all the time with those great big cameras on their shoulders. When that Males brother documentary was put out, George had a copy of it at his house, and I was visiting with him at the time, and he was watching it, and he was watching himself coming down the steps of the plane, and watching them getting down and, you know, laughing and joking and everything. And he said, you know, if we'd had any idea of the impact or the importance that was, you know, what was going to happen from all of this, he said, we probably would have been scared out of our skin, you know. He said, but there we were just a bunch of happy-go-lucky, cheeky fellas, you know. We were just having a blast.
Meanwhile, in Dad's office...
I'll be right back, honey.
Defending the network from human nature. This is the power of the network, now.
You'd expect a luxury sedan to have aerodynamic lines. But Lexus engineers went a step further. Dimpled panels were used on the undercarriage to reduce noise and lower wind resistance. So it's aerodynamic from every angle.
I am so fired. I am so fired. I am so fired. If I don't get out of here with ink in 2 minutes, well, I'm so fired.
Everything he needs right over here.
I am so underpaid. I am so underpaid.
Ink Depot at Office Depot. Find all the ink, toner, and fax supplies you need, all in one place with a dedicated staff at everyday low prices. Bring your empty cartridge and we'll give you 2 reams of Office Depot recycle paper free.
Social Studies with Jimmy.
I don't know much about Libya, but this is the Libyan flag. It is not a flag. This is a tablecloth.
All new Jimmy Kimmel Live coming up.
The news where you live never stops, and neither does News 2.
Dope was seized within a block of 2 schools. Take a look at what they're doing.
You can't wake her up.
The team that uncovers relevant information.
Required to appear in court.
And delivers a straightforward newscast that won't waste your time.
Look at how many times he's been arrested. Reunited a missing Clarksville boy.
Recalling almost 1 million cars.
Get straight to the point.
We're going to work every day.
With News 2 and WKRN.com.
Why's a rich guy like you riding a bus?
Now you can win Jack's stuff. A 2-year lease on his new Ford Thunderbird, or a trip on his private jet, or his Kawasaki motorcycles, or jet ski watercraft, or even a trip from Florida to Hawaii from Orbitz. Plus, you have a 1 in 4 chance of instantly winning other cool prizes. See rules or buy any medium or large combo meal, then sip, rip, and win.
Yes!
You might even win Jack's wallet.
Dad?
Don't ask.
I remember that Monday we were starting getting these phone calls from CBS saying that the crime rate in New York was 0, and that 72 million people had watched the shows.
I think when they found out that during their shows that there hadn't been a single hubcap stolen, I think that's when they realized they'd... maybe they were on to doing something big.
The water cooler moment of all time was the day after the Beatles appeared on Ed Sullivan for the first time. Kids and parents debated it, and when 73 million people watched it, we may say, gee, the Super Bowl gets 80 million. 73 million in 1964 was 40% of the entire population.
I don't think there was any idea of how big a deal it was. I don't think people had it in their heads that people watched 60, 70 million people. It's scary to think, you know, hey, I'm getting watched by all them people.
You ask anybody of a certain age, where were you when you saw the Beatles? Who were you with? Do you remember the moment? Everybody remembers that moment.
The emotions that come back is that I feel at my age, at this time in my life, that I was really part of history. There'll never be another Beatles. But what happened years later, I mean, with their music and their publishing, and it's probably one of the proudest moments of my life.
The memories of seeing the Beatles perform in front of that screaming crowd were so powerful that when you ask people about the Beatles, the first thing they think of is the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Though on the face of it, they were just entertainers initially and just trying to make people smile and give them a enjoyment in music. On another level, what happened was that the Beatles engaged with the noblest part of the human spirit, the part that yearns to make itself and the world a better place. It's that simple.
I saw your gal the other day. You know what? The wind was blowing.
But they didn't really care. You know, as George said to me many years later, we would have been happy just to keep on playing our music to a half a dozen people in the, you know, in the lounge at a Holiday Inn or something. You know, we just wanted to make music.
They were just four guys who were like they were playing for each other. They were just as though they were still in a garage somewhere and they were having fun. And when they exchanged glances at each other and say, my God, can you imagine, we're doing this, we're playing in America. The audience at home sees that and says, these guys are real. These are like my friends next door. Yeah, they got weird hair, but they don't look like artificial showbiz gods that have been created out of plastic.
But first playing I Want to Hold Your Hand, that night I played it 8 times in a row, which is unheard of. Never in my career or in anybody's career would you play any record 8 times in a row.
Please, please me, She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand are all #1.
The next day, P.S. I Love You, 10 times in a row. And this happened not because I wanted to do it, the phones went crazy. And at last, radio and the music industry had something to hang their hat on. Something exciting was happening. How long was it going to last? A couple weeks? But here we are today, 40 years ago today.
I'll be back in a moment.